Are you planning a trip to Rome over the weekend? Well, today we're going to tell you some very important information about visiting Rome for a weekend that will make a really big difference on your next trip. Andrea and I live in Italy. Actually,
I'm from Italy.
exactly. And we travel to Rome at least 4 or 5 times a year. And for this reason, we'd like to share our knowledge about Rome and Italy with you so that you can have a much more authentic experience.
Absolutely.
We'll also give you a couple of pro tips that only the locals know, so stay tuned to the end. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm Rick.
And I'm Andrea, and today we'll tell you all you need to know about visiting Rome for a weekend. But first, if you like travel-related videos like this one, now it's a great time to hit the subscribe button down below so you never miss any future video. Also, we invite you to share this video on social media because some of your friends might enjoy it.
Exactly, and at least then, they'll be able to join in on the fun, right?
Absolutely. Let's begin by talking about how busy Rome is during the weekends. So weekends in Rome can be really, really busy. If you can, try to avoid them and visit during the week. But if you can only visit over a weekend, there are a few things to consider. First of all, if you arrive in Rome on a Saturday and leave on a Sunday, you won't have a lot of time to see and do everything you want. If you can, try to spend at least 2 nights in Rome, arriving maybe on a Friday night and leaving on a Sunday evening. Or, if you can, only arrive on a Saturday, arrive Saturday morning and try to extend the weekend and leave on Monday morning or even better, Monday afternoon. In our opinion, 2 nights is the bare minimum amount of time you need to have an introduction about Rome.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to our next tip on visiting Rome for the weekend, and that's start your day early. If you're visiting Rome during the weekend, you really are going to want to beat the crowd, and this is especially true for all the famous places like the Trevi Fountain or the Spanish Steps. And for this reason, we strongly recommend you to start your day nice and early and arrive at the Trevi Fountain at 7 a.m. Yes, I know it's early, and I know you're on holiday, but believe me, you will have a much better experience at 7 a.m. than you will when there's going to be like 1 million people there. Now, after taking some photos at the fountain, and of course you're going to
throw in the coin.
Exactly. Walk about 10 minutes to reach the Spanish Steps. And by that time, it should be around 7:30 or 7:45, and you'll still be able to experience the area or the Spanish Steps without tons of people around. And after you enjoyed a few photos of the steps, maybe took some selfies or even climbed the steps, you can now go for a typical Roman breakfast with a nice cappuccino and a cornetto.
A cornetto, absolutely.
So a cornetto is a Roman version of a croissant. Now, it's very softer than croissant, and it's lightly glazed with sugar.
Delicious.
And Andrea enjoys it mostly with cappuccino.
Dunked in the cappuccino.
He will say you will not be disappointed.
Absolutely.
And after the Spanish Steps, you can catch the metro station and go 3 stops to Termini, where then you can change to the B line, which will take you to the Coliseum in 2 stops. By doing this, you'll arrive at the Coliseum just before 9 a.m. still while it's calm.
Yes. This brings us to our next tip about visiting Rome for a weekend, and we talk about making your reservation in advance. Now, if you visit Rome, you should always make all your reservation in advance, even if you're visiting during the week. But if you're visiting for the weekend, it's even more important. In fact, if you're planning on visiting Rome for a weekend, we suggest you to book all your tickets for attraction and museum as soon as possible to avoid them being sold out.
Absolutely.
Now, if you don't feel comfortable booking your tickets months in advance, remember that you can book using this QR code. You'll be able to pretty much cancel any of your tickets without any penalty up to 24 hours previous to your experience. By the way, We also leave a link in the description below if you are watching this on your computer.
Exactly.
On the topic of reservation, we strongly recommend you to make restaurant reservation in advance as well, if you visit Rome for a weekend, because on Friday night and Saturday night, good restaurants are usually sold out. So, if you want to go and enjoy some delicious Roman food in Trastevere, we suggest you to make your reservation at least 1 week in advance. By the way, if you want to know more about what to eat in Rome, take a look at this video up here.
That was actually quite a fun video to record.
After dinner, don't forget to go for a stroll around the streets of Rome, maybe go back to the Trevi Fountain or the Spanish Steps at night and see them all lit up. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so moving on to our next tip about visiting Rome for the weekend, we're going to be talking about planning your visit strategically. If you visit Rome over the weekend, well, you only have 2 days, kinda, to enjoy this incredible city. For this reason, well, you're not going to see everything. So what do? You prioritize what's really important for you to see and what you can postpone to a future visit. Also, if you try to see everything in such a short amount of time, you're going to be rushed, you're not going to enjoy it, you're going to forget, and
you'll be so tired.
It's not going to be an enjoyable experience. For example, to have a good visit at the Coliseum and the Forum, you need 3 to 4 hours just for that.
Absolutely.
And for the Vatican Museums and St. Peter's Basilica, that's practically an entire day, if you can believe it. Because, just the security alone requires a ton of time. The lines are really long. And that brings us to our next tip for traveling to Rome over the weekend, and that's...
We talk about the Vatican Museum that are closed on Sunday.
Ooh, not many people tell you this,
No, and many other churches as well. One very important thing to know is that the Vatican Museum are closed on Sunday. Well, there is an exception of that. The last Sunday of every month, they are open and they are free, but they are incredibly busy.
Yeah.
So if you really want to see the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel, you have to plan your visit on Saturday or Monday morning. Also, here's the pro tip we promised you. We told you before that in order to visit St. Peter's Basilica, you will have to go through the metal detector, and that the lines can be quite insane. Well, if you book the guided tour using the QR code, here you will visit the Vatican Museum, the Sistine Chapel, and then you will be guided through a secret door, back door, inside of St. Peter Basilica, skipping the long line.
Yes, and nobody tells you that one. No.
We did it ourselves, and it was genius. We were through in the Basilica in no time. Another important thing to consider about visiting Rome for a weekend is that the fact that most of the churches might be closed for tourists on Sunday because they have reserved for Mass.
Well, that makes sense, right?
Absolutely. Even the Pantheon is closed occasionally on Sunday for the Holy Mass. So keep this in mind when you want to plan your trip to Rome on a weekend.
That is really good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so time to move on to our final tip about visiting Rome for the weekend, and we're going to talk about going to see the Pope, or going to see the Pope's blessing. If you're in Rome on a Sunday and the Pope happens to be in town, well, you have a very unique opportunity. You can go and see the Pope's blessing on the Sunday at noon in St. Peter's Square. In fact, every Sunday, if the Pope is in Rome, he performs the blessing from the window of the Papal Palace in St. Peter's Basilica. The blessing is at noon, but if you want to go see it, again, you're going to have to pass through security, and to score a nice spot by the papal window, you're going to have to go early.
Yeah.
But this is a very good opportunity to see the Pope live, and it's totally free.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, that's what we have for you today. We hope you've enjoyed the video, and maybe you've learned something.
As usual, if you have any question, leave a comment below. We love to hear back from you and answer your question, and best we can. Also, after your visit to Rome, let us know in the comment below how your trip was, what you liked and what you didn't like. This will inspire us to make more videos about travel in Italy and about Rome.
In the meantime, we will see you in our next video.
Ciao!